Welcome in everybody to another Week 3 Winterly 2026 matchup. This is a vodcast tonight for Group 3. This is Quinn Patrick, Big Slemu, Chris, and EMP. This race took place a few days ago, but we are providing coverage for you this afternoon. Joining me in the booth is Joaf. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, and I hope you are too. This is such a great race we're going to have in front of us right now with great players, and I love the flag set as well, so I'm super excited.
Yes, this Week 3 Vanilla Plus sets. This is a position round, by the way, just keeping that in mind. So these are the players after 2 weeks who were in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th place. I believe Quinn, Slemu, and Chris each had 8 points, EMP with 7 points. But yes, with this vanilla-ish week, we have a lot of the vanilla staples, the vanilla overworld map, spell learning, so level 3 heal, level 4 hurt, and so on, up to a probably necessary level 17 heal more, so we get to look forward to that. Your chest and search spots are all vanilla, so things will be found where they're found normally. All the shops will have vanilla prices and vanilla items, so only Cantlin will have the Flame Sword Silver Shield combo, for example. And then really the staples that are going to make this year's interesting twist on the vanilla format, which is Warp Whistle. And I think, Joaf, you can tell us a little bit about these new flags that someone present in the booth may have helped create and implement into the randomizer.
Yes, that is very possible. So Warp Whistle is pretty much a recorder from Zelda 1. So you stay at an inn and then you can warp to it by using the flute outside of a battle on the overworld. And that makes Cole a big find because we know the flute is going to be there and it's going to help the players walk around the map without actually walking around. And the vanilla map is pretty large. There's 2 continents. If you can warp from one to the other, it's going to be a huge help. There's also the big... Oh, yeah, please, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. We also have a start on screen. Just taking a quick look at the stats. 22 strength is a monstrous start, as we learn the Magidrake has hurt more for Big Slemu. We also have pretty decent agility, HP, and a little bit of MP, but no spells, of course, to start. So how might that starting agility come into play here?
Well, as you can see on the screen, the crit chance, or the chance for having an excellent move, which ignores the enemy's defense power and just deals a very big amount of damage to it. The chance for that is agility over 256. So right at the start, with even a very low agility start, you're already at a much higher chance to crit than you usually are in a typical randomizer or vanilla game. The vanilla crit rate is 1 in 32, which is pretty low, but now at 23, that's like a 1 in 12 or so chance to crit.
Yes, the high crit rate probably going to be more impactful, at least in a consistent way, later on in the game, but even here at the very beginning of the game can be very, very important. Maybe not so much with 22 strength to start, but regardless, you might be able to take out something significantly larger than you might otherwise to get off the ground here.
Yes, and it also helps with jail starts when you have super low strength and can't find an enemy to kill. You can just hope that you're lucky, and chances for that are higher than usual. But mostly, I would say, as you mentioned, by the end of the seed, it's going to be more important because then, even if you don't have a Erdrick sword, which is most likely going to be the case for a long time since it's in Charlock, you can deal with bigger enemies just by critting them. When you reach that 60, 70, even 80 agility, then you can crit once in every 3 or 4 swings. So even red dragons and golems are things you can take out without heal more.
And then the last of those 3 new flags, we have running cost XP. How is that impacting our runners' choices here in the very, very early game?
Well, the cost for running is 1/8 of what the enemies normally give for experience. And I say normally, which is not quite exact, because now we have normalized XP and gold drops from enemies. So magicians usually give, 8 experience points? They might give a little more or a little less today. Let's see on Big Slamu's screen, we have 9 today. So running for a magician would cost you 1 XP. If you have that XP, then you can run away. It's guaranteed first try. And if you don't, then you can literally never run away from it. So at the start of the seed, you might want to, anytime during the scene, you might want to just swing at things, even if you know you can't kill them, because you don't want to lose your experience.
Yes, and that the XP penalty can be pretty costly in the early game. Really kind of forces runners to stick close to home, because running a little bit too far away and then perhaps needing to run away from an enemy, it's either well, I'm just going to take the penalty by going or trying to run away and maybe sacrificing levels in the process, which is pretty bad, versus just sacrificing time and losing that map position and not actually getting to where we need to go. And especially here in the Northeast with a coal start, so the Swamp North spot isn't too far away. You can get fairly close without actually having to cross out of Zone 1 or 2. But we also have the Staff Cave spot. It's a little bit hard because you have to navigate around to. Both those are close-ish, but everything else is very far away.
Yes, and really exploration is nice, but there's only so much it will do for you in this seed, since the armor is in Hog's Nest behind a spike tile, and the sword is in Charlock, which you definitely can't reach right now. So what our players are looking for in the early game is, of course, to grind and maybe find keys to get into the treasury for some gold, and hopefully find a town in which you can buy things. Coal is also a big deal, again, because of the warp whistle, and maybe a cave with a gold grind. So if you get your hands on keys and you find Cantlin, then you probably want a gold grind as fast as possible, because then you have the flame sword, the silver shield, and the magic armor waiting for you in Cantlin.
Absolutely. So again, overview here. In the first 5 minutes, we have some decent grinding action going on at home. We've had a lot of deaths to Magidrakes with that Hurt More spell. So far, it looks like Quinn Patrick and Big Slamu, the first two to reach level 5. EMP also has level 4, so all three of those runners have both heal and hurt at this point. Just Chris took a bunch of resets at the beginning, I think, just not quite getting the sets of enemies that he wanted, but has now reached level 4 as well, so he'll have the hurt spell. Mostly sticking close to home, although I'm spotting a very metal friend on Quinn Patrick's side that could be a game changer.
And that's exactly why right here on the screen we can see the crit rate being increased makes the metal slime a very, very interesting grind choice, especially in the early game like this. Quinn Patrick reaching level, 7 already? That's 2 levels above his closest competitors. And running away from the Axe Knight is gonna take a chunk of your XP, but he's got some buffer, and there's the metal slime again. Just running away.
Yeah, the little bit of extra buffer there, especially now reaching level 7, and sleep. Sleep really important in this flag set. But having that little bit of extra buffer XP, allowing him to run away from enemies without sacrificing a level and losing that spell. And he finds the initial town of Breckenary, very appropriate in a vanilla seed to find Breckenary first. The nice thing about this is, while it doesn't have any of the big stuff, or any of the special stuff like the Fairy Flute in this case, it does have easy, cheap equipment to start. So looks like we're going to get Copper Sword, Small Shield, Leather Armor for Quinn Patrick. Won't make the biggest difference, but it is definitely something.
Yeah, and one thing you might have noticed is Quinn Patrick not using the inn there, because since it's so close to home, when you get the warp whistle, you don't want to cycle through all of the towns in the land. If there's one you don't really care about, you don't want to go back there like Breckenary, then you want to avoid it as much as possible, because we don't know what the flute song is. It might be short, it might be long, but whatever it is, if you don't have to play it 5 times to reach the town where you want to go, then it's much better, and it's a big time save.
All right, Big Slamu, interestingly, has moved over here to the western edge of the zone. Actually, he's in Zone 1, just to the left of Cole, but he's walked over far enough to actually give us a look at the Staff Cave spot, which is a cave. Now, there's a few spots in the map that you can do this for just walking close enough to where the location is, even though if you have to take a circuitous route to get there. The Mountain Cave spot is another good example of this. So we can at least see, is it a town, is it a cave? Cave's not as important here in the early game. Really, the big thing you're looking for is Rim for keys. Everything else kind of takes second fiddle until then.
Yeah, rim for keys is big. Again, vanilla chests and searches means there's 4 chests with gold in the home castle. So even if we didn't see much that is expensive that we can buy in Breckenary, eventually when we reach other towns like Rim, then you can buy much more interesting gear. I believe Rimildar has the broadsword and the magic armor, notably.
Indeed, it does. Just Chris also now reaching level 7, second runner to do that. So we'll see what he chooses to do now with the sleep spell in tow. Now he only has 1 buffer experience point, so running from pretty much anything is going to drop him back down to level 6. But even Quinn, even at level 8, has not really ventured forth, as it were, leveraging that sleep spell to try to explore. I've referenced the sleep spell a couple of times. The importance of the sleep spell in this flag set is that combined with that XP penalty, if the enemy is asleep, you don't get penalized for running away. It's also just a good safety spell in this case as well. Gives you potentially some opportunity to get some extra swings in and fish for that crit to take out a much bigger enemy. But he has not leveraged that so far. Sticking around in Zone 2, Metal Scorpions have been pretty kind.
Yeah, eventually, if you had heal more, you could fight bigger enemies. But we don't have heal more. We're not gonna have it probably until it's time to go. So bigger enemies, if you want to take them, either you gotta crit or you gotta sleep them.
Ooh,
Oh,
big XP
there's
penalty. Yeah.
yeah, that golem in the swamp again for EMP.
Oh, double. No. All right, I think EMP making the right call there takes the big 51 HP damage there. It's a lot better than losing. I didn't quite see how much that was. It was close to 40, which bodes well. You can use that information to gauge exactly where in this normalized XP range the enemies may have rolled. So it looks like the golem might be a viable target later.
Absolutely, you just have to multiply the deduced amount of XP by 8, and then you have an approximation of how much it's going to give. And the golem is one of them of the enemies that can give the biggest amount of experience points. So it is a possible target for a final grind at the end of the game. That and the red dragon, notably, are 2 of the big ones. We hope they're rolled up in XP, and we hope they're on a spike tile, but it might not be the case.
All right,
Quinn
all of
Pat,
our runners continuing on the early grind. Not a whole lot else to report. Slamu is about to hit level 8. Quinn has hit level 9. Still, so far, hanging out around home. Might be taking a venture toward the staff cave spot, which we did see as a cave. Finds a knight.
knowing which enemies can be slept easily is a big thing in this flag set, again, because sleep is big and you don't lose XP, and you can kill enemies like this knight without critting for a nice 69 experience points. And Quinn Patrick at level 9 looks like he has 73 strength. That's a very decent amount right now. If he had a better weapon, he could definitely deal with much bigger enemies.
And even without that bigger weapon, take a look at that agility number at level 9, but even down at level 7 and EMP side, 63 agility. That is going to give pretty close to a 25% chance to crit. Quinn Patrick over 25% at this point. So the crit chances are really getting up there, and is going to make, again, the potential for some of these fights to really start to be viable. It just sometimes may be the luck of the draw. Do you get 2 crits in a row and take down something big, or do you swing 5 times and get none?
And that is gonna come up possibly very soon if we find Hawksness, because if we find a treasure guard that's like a green dragon or even bigger than that, you can fish for a crit, swing once or twice. If it doesn't work out, just run away, lose a little bit of experience, and try again until you can defeat that enemy and get that mighty Erdrick's armor. Looks like Stone Man is not going to be a prime target today. It has Heal More.
Yeah, not what you want to see on the Stone Man there. Stone Man is strangely viable. I mean, a lot of times if you see a Stone Man spike tile in standard flags, it's like the worst possible case. But Stone Men tend to roll up on the experience, and since we're not going to be working with Heal More, Erdrick Sword, or Hurt More, you know, if you can put the Stone Man to sleep reliably, which you can about 7 and 8 times, it becomes a lot more viable for grinding. But yeah, with the Heal More is kind of problematic here. Also, the 1 in 8 chance to resist the sleep. Well,
Yeah, and Quinn Patrick really got unlucky there. He took like 6 or 7 swings without a crit in a row, and despite that super long heal, he managed to land. It didn't work out for him.
and that's just how quickly the tables can turn in seeds like this. Quinn Patrick with the big XP lead, but you know, you have a battle like that where you waste like 40, 50 seconds and effectively accomplish nothing. Get sent back home, so you lose your map position in addition to that, and then all of a sudden, you know, just Chris here is now about 150 XP behind. Big Slamu starting to push out the exploration. That's just those little things get amplified in seeds like this.
Ooh, there's a green dragon for Quinn Patrick. It is possible to sleep it for like half of the time maybe, and there's a crit. He's probably gonna get this one. Oh, it's got stop spell as well. Okay, that's a very nice enemy to find. Oof, 109 experience though. It did go down significantly in terms of rewards, but it still might be a good enemy to fight right now.
Yeah, not too shabby at all. And the one thing I've noticed for a lot of the runners, I would say probably especially EMP has played this in such a way that he's keeping very close tabs on where he is on the map, staying in the bounded zones. He did take that quick trip down to Brecconary earlier, but he has stuck around in Zone 2. The knowledge of the vanilla map, or at least having a map pulled up to understand the zone boundaries, is really important, I think, in this flag set as well. Having the ability to strategically find or avoid specific zones can be really, really helpful, especially when you start looking, it's like, oh, there's metal slimes here. Where are those metal slimes? Well, I can see the exact zone boundaries. What's the optimal place? I found one in a plains tile. Maybe I can find some on some desert tiles a little bit, you know, east, west, south, or north from where I am.
Absolutely. It's definitely allowed to have a map open next to you when you play this game. There's even a tool that is used when you have vanilla map to find the core's location, which hopefully our runners are going to use to find the token at some point. And Quinn Patrick getting level 10 and the important spell of Stop Spell. That might help him deal with some of these enemies, maybe with the Stone Man's Heal More or some hurt more or anything he's gonna find. We did find out also that the knights have DL2 breath, so that's you probably don't want to fight those.
Yeah, not great. Although Quinn's level 10 there did come of a bit of an HP boost, so he is at 72 HP. I mean, that's basically getting hit one time plus a DL2 breath, so it's not a lot of buffer, but it's not a guaranteed one shot to get breathed on. So there is that. It's not much, but it's something.
Hey, we take what we can. Quinn's been making great progress though. He's past that swamp and desert area just north of Tainted Hill. He's gonna sacrifice a bit of XP to run away from that werewolf, but he's still way well ahead the XP threshold for level 10.
Everyone else just kind of standing pat. Again, we do see a little bit of additional exploration coming out at this point. We see Big Slemu sort of in that same vicinity, just trying to make his way through. Gets the excellent move on the metal slime in the process, also now picking up level 10. Again, that's just how quick these XP leads can come up or evaporate.
Ooh, nice crit from EMP on the Axe Knight, which gives a 101 experience points. So two of the usual prime targets for a grind, the Green Dragon and the Axe Knights, have rolled down on experience points. So you might want to consider something else. Hey, Quinn Patrick finds the almighty town of Rimuldar with the keys.
Yeah, this is a huge find. Not the earliest possible, obviously, so it's not quite as good as finding it basically as soon as you hit like level 7 and sleep, but It'll be interesting to see what Quinn decides to do here. So we saw the rainbow drop turn in at the staff cave spot. We have not located a place to initiate a gold grind, so we haven't found mountain cave. We haven't found grave, or I suppose potentially, well, yeah, we would need keys to check Garenham. Well, yeah, the back of Garenham, or the swamp cave leading into the back of Garenham. What am I trying to say here? We also don't know where Cantlin is. So there is the risk if you do the gold grind too early that you just might not be able to hold onto the gold that long. We also haven't found coal to easily port around the map either, so it'll be interesting to see what we decide to do here.
But we did find Swamp North, and Quinn Patrick has ventured in there to check the second continent out. Hopefully find one of these locations you mentioned. EMP also having found Rimildar and the keys. He's gonna probably do exactly the same, maybe buy something. Quinn Patrick didn't even check the shop in Rimildar, but he did not have a lot of money. I believe EMP does.
Yeah, EMP can upgrade to the broadsword here, which I imagine he will. No, he's going to go for the half plate. Honestly, not a bad idea. With the high crit rate, it's really kind of more dependent on just getting your agility up and taking more swings. So the extra damage output from a broadsword doesn't make as much difference, but survivability can be a bit of a problem when you don't have heal more to fall back on.
I believe I may have seen a defeated armor knight on Quinn Patrick's side that gave 211 experience points. That is definitely something to consider for a possible late game grind.
Yeah, one of the more bulky enemies, but if it's rolled up, that's pretty good. Now, EMP took a look and saw Swamp Cave, and instead of diving through as Quinn did, is going to go in the opposite direction. It's going to go northwest, finds Mountain Cave at the tablet spot. So the possibility of initiating a gold grind if EMP chooses, again, without knowledge of Cantlin, but still could consider it.
EMP might have noticed as well that he found a metal slime in the desert area just around that cave he's in. So it's a if it's not the same zone that Just Chris is in, which has also dangerous enemies, then maybe it's worth staying there a little while. But doesn't look like it's a priority for EMP right now. Just looking for I assume, the fighter's ring and the death necklace.
Yep, that's really the only reason to come down here. So Mountain Cave, strictly speaking, in this flag site is not required, but both of those are nice to have, especially early on when you don't exactly know what your stats are going to be. Maybe they'll come in handy. As Quinn finds, what was that, Tablet Cave at the rim spot. So far, second continent, not that interesting.
Yeah, just one more location left to find. Hopefully it's a town so we can warp there later when we want to actually go and win, but it might be a town we want to find for other reasons, like Cantlin for the chords or the gear. Also call again for the flute. If we do want to warp, we have to find the flute at some point.
All right, EMP taking a death warp out of the Mountain Cave. Here's the moment of truth. Will he elect to go and do a gold grind? It appears the answer is yes. Again, I like this play. I mean, it's fine. I mean, in the end, ultimately, we're going to be replacing the sword and armor. If you get at least 30,000 gold, you can still take a death and afford Silver Shield. That's really the one thing that you want to make sure that you pick up with all that extra gold. So I don't mind this.
One could argue also the flame sword is an important find because depending on how the stats are coming up at your level ups, it is very possible that you might want to win without Erdic's sword. We pretty much have to go on level 17 or later, and by then you're possibly a bit overpowered, so not having to make the detour for Erdic's sword might help, but again, it's the Silver Shield is the big one.
And speaking of a possible Silver Shield pickup, Quinn has found Cantlin. That was at the Swamp South spot. So it's a great opportunity to stay at the inn. He doesn't have the flute yet, but establishing that warp point, not only to get coordinates once... Well, actually, he has keys. To get coordinates would be, but to also pick up that Flame Sword Silver Shield once he initiates a gold grind, if he chooses to do so, and that is a stepping stone to head into Sharlock at the end of the game.
Yes, very much so. And I have to assume everyone's gonna flute to Cantlin when they're done grinding at some point. And what does it mean in terms of locations that are left? I believe the Vanilla Mountain Cave, Hawksness, Cantlin, and Garenham locations are left, which leaves us with the Grave, Garenham, Cole, and Staff Drayden, and something else maybe.
Hawksness.
Oh, yes, of course. So we might have a Vanilla Hawksness today. That might be fun.
All right, we're about to get our first look at coordinates for Quinn. What do we have? 54 south, 102 west. That's a trip.
That is a trip indeed. I assume Quinn is entering the coordinates in the tool to find out exactly where on the Vanilla map that location is. Let's see what he does after that.
I mean, just based on the numbers, it is going to be way off on the western edge, and it's probably going to be somewhere around around Mountain Cave. Somewhere between Mountain Cave and the Hawksness spot. The Mountain Cave spot and the Hawksness spot. Obviously, Mountain Cave is not there.
Yeah, sounds about right. And Quinn Patrick's healed up and looks like he wants to use the N again before leaving. Yeah, you use that NPC guillotine.
I haven't tried it. I wonder if he should have been able to talk to that NPC through the blackness, right? I don't know how that works. I've never tried to talk to an NPC from inside the covered area.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I think it works, but I don't remember having tried it. I don't know. It looks like it's a job for science at some point.
The other nice thing about the order of operations here for Quinn is that he picks up these coordinates before actually heading in that direction. So unlike EMP, well, of course, EMP has since, gone into Mountain Cave reset and whatever, so he may still have the opportunity to do this, but going west first is going to be the less optimal order of operations in this case. Now, maybe with the flute and being able to pour it around, it won't be so bad, but that is something to consider here.
Hey, we got better in chat, confirming that dialogue does trigger inside buildings with NPCs outside, and I assume the opposite is true as well. So that's a very interesting thing. If you know you have an NPC blocking you and you can't see him, then just drop the the guillotine down and have fun.
Ooh, we get our first look at the reward from the Golem. Double crit for Big Slamu. Unfortunately, 277. Golem has rolled down. I thought it was closer to 40, but apparently I mathed a bit incorrectly. So not the best on the Golem, but he gets another one. Just crit 4 times in a row. That's how it works. Math is easy.
It is a very viable strategy if you can handle it. It looks like Slamu can. So the Axe Knight, the Green Dragon, the Golem all rolled down. I believe so far of the Sharlock enemies, the only one we've seen that rolled up is the Armor Knight, but I might have missed one or two. I don't remember seeing a Stone Man defeated or a Warlock, but I might have just missed it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, it's really going to come down to what our spike tile enemies are and whether or not they're viable or worthwhile enough to stay outside of Sharlock versus just seeing what's there. Or even, again, metal slime grinds become much more of a thing in this flag set as well. So we'll have to see what our runners are faced with and what they choose to do as we continue on here. Again, that double golem puts Slamu in the XP lead, and we talked about Quinn Patrick being the XP lead for so long in the early game here. He is now the trailer, I believe. Again, doing a lot of the exploration, though, so it is that trade-off. Oh, no, sorry. EMP is still the trailer, but regardless, he does have a metal slime, and that's going to help him close the gap.
Yes, we've seen players come back from big XP deficits in previous races this week, so I don't expect anything less to happen in this race. It looks like both EMP and Slimu are converging on Venla Garenham location, which is Hawksness today. What are we going to have on the spike? Well, that's not an enemy that will scare Slamu away. Just killed a bunch of them already, and there's a crit. He should be fine. Just swing again here, and there it is.
EMP sees the same, but has not had the same experience with the golems. Is also 3 levels lower, so I mean the stats do play a role here as well. Only 72 HP. Slimu has 125. So he is much more able to sustain a few hits before that. So I think it's probably the right call for both runners in what they chose to do there. It's just unfortunate EMP is so far behind here on the XP and therefore the stats. So that may come back to bite him, that he's not able to pick up the armor so quickly. And unfortunately, level 11 didn't give the big strength and agility boost here. It was just a little bit of HP.
Yeah, I think 13 was a big level in terms of HP, but you know, maybe AMP will find something else that will help him, like Cole again for the Warp Whistle, which nobody went south of when in that part of the map. We haven't seen Mountain Cave location, Hawksness, or Cantlin, so he might be the first to get there.
And directing ourselves to the left side of the screen, both Quinn and Chris are in Swamp Cave. We have an Armored Knight on the Swamp Cave spike tile at 211, and it's got Stop Spell. I think we have ourselves... And Hurt.
And Hurt.
Wow.
Wow.
We've got ourselves a grind, baby.
Yeah, again, rolled up at 211 experience points. That is, I have to assume, the best grind there is. It barely gives less experience than the Golem, is much easier to kill. It's readily available, closer than Hawksness is. So yeah, you want to grind that for pretty much as long as you can.
All right, EMP continuing exploration is the first one to find staff trade-in at the Mountain Cave spot. Again, unfortunately for him, that's just not what he needs right now.
Yep, we have Garenham with the Grave left and Cole, so that is one of these two we see right here in the Vanilla Hawksnest location. And now Slamu and Just Chris are pretty much neck and neck in terms of experience points. Quinn Patrick just a bit below them. He's grinding and rising quickly in experience.
All right, potential breakout moment here for EMP, picking up the Fairy Flute. First one to get it, there's the possibility that getting that early, be able to port around the map a little bit more easily now, maybe try to catch up on the exploration. But again, this is it's unfortunate because aside from Second Continent stuff, there's really not a whole lot of order of operations that you can do in seeds like this. So it's not a matter of finding it early and then being able to port around. So it still could help. So we'll see how it goes here. I think that does put Garenham with the Grave at the Cantlin spot.
Which is kind of unfortunate for EMP. He's still carrying around that big bag of gold pieces, which he's hoping for Cantlin, but we know it's in on the Second Continent, so he's probably gonna find that last or next to last. He's probably got the stats to make the Grave dive, which is good news for him, but hopefully he's gonna learn outside before he gets to the bottom of the Grave, because then you have to walk out or die and lose your hard, well, I was gonna say hard-earned gold, but this gold was not very hard-earned.
No, it wasn't. But I would agree. I think, again, barring horrendous enemy sets here in the Grave of like really weak, not worthwhile enemies, getting to 3000 XP shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I would imagine he'll have outside, but he won't have return. But that's not a problem because he's got the flute.
Yes, usually you kind of count on finding wings in chests somewhere or getting return, but now return is at, I believe, level 13, and wings, well, you're not going to open a chest that has wings because you know it has wings, and you don't really want that. There's no wings for sale here in Garenham. There are wings for sale, I believe, in Cole and Cantlin only.
Interesting. EMP took the in trip there, even though he was, I believe, already at full MP or pretty close to it. So he does have this as a warp point. I mean, he shouldn't need to come back here, assuming that he's able to make it through the grave. But regardless, that is a thing he'll have to contend with moving forward. Picks up a dragon scale, a full complement of herbs and such. Meanwhile, Quinn and Chris are just content to sit here on this armored knight grind. Just Chris about to hit level 15 here. Quinn shortly behind him. So honestly, I like this as well because level 15 grants the spell of Repel. You really only want to be fighting, I dare I say, armored knights exclusively pretty much from now on. So I like this. I like this idea.
I absolutely agree. It is not even a surprise that they're keeping on the grind. The only thing really that might want that we might want to consider to leave that grind is the possibility of buying a flame sword, but we know where Cantlin is. It's not readily accessible. We don't quite have the money, so with the crits you just swing and get to probably level 16-ish or something, which is gonna happen very soon for Just Chris.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of, theory crafting and decision making that's going to have to happen here. Again, 100 strength already, and now at level 15 as well. No additional strength, but very easily go Dragonlord stats with Erdrick Sword. And we have Death Necklace hit points on top of it. Really, Erdrick Sword is almost not necessary with 93 MP and this here. But again, I don't think they're going to do a gold grind. They can, but I would almost say that it's probably a time waste at this point to do a gold grind to force one for that equipment upgrade. Granted, they do have to go to Cantlin at the very end anyway, because that's where they're going to be jumping off into Sharlock, so it's not out of the way, but it's out of the way to set it up at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Although they do have to grab the silver harp in the grave at some point, so you just have to open a couple chests in there, and then you get your gold grind. If you do manage to die, because at this point it's going to get harder and harder to do that. Also, since they're probably going to be okay fighting the Dragon Lord, they might consider getting the Death Necklace or the sword to make the fight faster. At 120 AP right now, that fight is going to be long and you'd need more resources, which you might have by level 17, but possibly you might want to grab one of these two items to help.
Yeah, I would agree. It's probably a one or the other scenario. Sword is a little bit probably faster to get and will have a greater impact, but Mountain Cave is also pretty quick, especially having outside and repel. It would be a very quick trip to go, down and grab that. But if it's not necessary, that's kind of like a why bother. Interestingly, Quinn refilled and is going to head back to the grind. I thought originally he was going to step out and then maybe go on the exploration and kind of grab everything else, maybe just fight the big stuff along the way. But he's sticking with it. We'll see how high he goes here. Just Chris is sticking with it as well. He's about to hit level 16. Slamu has made his way to Garenham. EMP finished with his grave dive, has his harp, and is now going to start porting around and getting some things done.
Okay, and I gotta ask chat, what is the flute song today? I'm not hearing the audio from the game. Looks like EMP's using the flute to warp. I'm curious to know what it is. There is a pool of something like 70 flute songs available, and so far we've heard a bunch of them. I don't think we've had a repeat since the start of the league, but I might have missed a couple races. Oh, Inspector Gadget, thank you, Beta. I believe that is a repeat. We've heard that one before, but it's one I don't mind rehearing. It's a pretty good song. We've had worse than that before.
All right, just Chris hit level 16 and is broken away from the grind at this point, making his way to the second continent. So he is going to find Tablet Cave and then Cantlin here. Again, he will not have cash for a gold grind, but he will be able to pick up his coordinates and kind of run off to the western edge of the map and wrap up exploration, picking up the token in the process.
Looks like Quinn Patrick, if he keeps up with what he's doing, he's gonna have Flame Sword money by the time he's done with the grind, and he does know where Cantlin is. He's visited it before, so when he finds the flute, he can get back there pretty quickly and maybe buy the Flame Sword, which could make a difference.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about in his scenario, because it looks like he's either going for that or he's just going to go all the way to 17. So any Sharlock tier enemies or anything that he's not going to be able to repel, which with only Chainmail and Large Shield is not going to be a ton. Still 64 defense. It's not nothing. But he's going to have to make the decision of whether he runs from things or hacks away and gets even more XP that he really doesn't need given the current stat profile here. So that would be the only worry that I would have on his end, is just being a little bit over-prepared.
Yeah, you do want a little bit of an experience buffer before getting inside Sharlock, so you can run away from enemies and still keep your level 17 when you reach the Dragon Lord. But really, you don't need that much. Just fighting one Armor Knight will make you able to run away from pretty much 8 Sharlock enemies. So maybe 1, 2, 3 kills is more than enough to get through Sharlock.
Yeah, and he will still have to do a lot of overworld walking here, but the nice thing he'll have is just the ability to pick and choose which enemies he takes a swing at. So there is that benefit. So, I mean, we'll see how it plays out here. This is also just such a good fast grind. So whether you do it now or you do it later, it's kind of immaterial. It's really just a matter of if it's too much at this point.
And speaking of material, EMP just bought himself a silver shield, so he finally made use of that earned money because it wasn't hard earned, and now he's gonna repel a bunch of stuff.
All right, EMP gets his coordinates. Slamu gets his stones of sunlight. Now he'll start porting around and trying to wrap things up. It's hard to say exactly who might be in the overall lead here. I think, unfortunately, EMP he's so far behind on the XP that even with the lead in exploration and kind of having all the information, that's just too much ground to make up at the current point. But we'll see between Quinn, Chris, and Slamu just who's able to put the pieces together the fastest here.
Yeah, even with his gear like the Flame Sword, which will help, EMP might have a faster grind than the others had, but it's I fail to see how much it would need to be faster to help him catch up so much experience. It's not impossible. We've seen stranger things happen, but it's gonna be difficult. Looks like Just Chris is about to get his Erdrick's armor in Hawksness fighting the Golem. He's got plenty of HP and crits to get him through the fight.
There's the crit, no big deal.
Nobody's gotten the token yet, but I'm guessing it's gonna be the first thing on Quinn Patrick's mind. And now, as he's level 17, he's gonna walk around, repel a bunch of stuff, run from anything that's not an armored knight, pretty much, and grab whatever he needs to finish the game. And it looks like he's deeming the death necklace necessary. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I thought it was a little interesting that he was going to head in there, but again, you only have broadsword. Maybe you're thinking about trying to skip Erdrick's sword and just whatever, you go Death Necklace and Fighter's Ring, but I think honestly, in most circumstances, especially with the stats they have currently, just getting Erdrick Sword and wrapping it up should be the fastest option in this case. If you don't have to dive Mountain Cave, don't.
Yeah, Erdrick Sword gives more power than the Death Necklace anyway, and you will keep your super high HP, which will allow you a bunch of doubles during the fight and make it even faster. So yeah, I agree. The sword is probably the much better play.
All right, EMP doing the backtracking after warping around. Going to pick up his token close. It's a little bit further to the northwest.
EMP unfortunately playing Erdrick's digging game today. The token is well hidden. I didn't see quite where that was, but it sounds like with what you were saying, he's not quite in the good direction. I assume he's not using the tool we have to find the chords faster.
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, see, he was very close. He was in the right area. It's just not quite the right little edge of the coastline there. Again, it get a little bit confusing. It's very similar, that kind of serrated edge there. But he is able to get it after not too long. And the nice thing is the turn-in for the harp is right here, so he'll be able to get his rainbow drop quite quickly. Just has a lot of grinding to do.
There's a lot of homeworking being done right now. Just Chris getting his Stones of Sunlight. Big Slammy already has his Staff of Rain, just missing the token and the Rainbow Drop. Quinn Patrick is just getting started, but he's gonna get them very fast with his leveling and repelling and everything. And Slamu grinding on that Golem in Hawk's Nest, which is not a terrible choice for sure. 277 XP is nothing to laugh at, but probably not as good as the Armor Knight in Swamp Cave, but he's getting there. He's very close in experience points to level 17, very close to Just Chris. This will be a very tight race, I think, for the top 3.
It's looking like it, and I don't think Slamu checked the spike tile in the Swamp Cave, so it kind of makes sense. It's the grind you know versus the grind you don't know, I suppose. Although, again, like, this is okay. But on the other hand, he's probably seeing Green Dragon Accent at this point, and he knows that those are both terrible. So, again, go with what you know. Understandable. It's not a bad grind, it's just maybe not the best.
We just saw a wizard on EMP side in the Hawk's Nest zone. It gave 110 experience points, so even the wizard rolled down. Not that it really matters, because again, wizards cannot be a spike tile in this flag set. It is a Sharlock enemy. It can be a treasure guard, but that is not a flag that is turned on this week. And there's the armor for EMP. Looks like he's opting to grab a couple golems worth of experience since he's there. Not a bad choice at all. Also, having the flute makes this fight very safe.
And he's done his homework with the exception of picking up the rainbow drop at this point. So realistically, he can stay here until he's ready to go, do the quick pickup, and then port to Cantlin when he's good to go. Again, it'll be interesting for him in particular. Obviously, the other runners are already level 16 and 17. But what he elects to do on the grind front, if he decides to dive into Sharlock early, again, with the stats that they have, going in at like level 14 or 15 is totally viable. But I think, especially with that Armored Knight spike tile, maybe with the Golem here, it's very easy to just grind what you need here and not do that.
And Quinn making it to Garenham, which is the Vanilla Kentlin location, which is far from everything, but he's got the keys, he's got the gear, he's got the levels, so grabbing the harp and casting outside is just gonna be a matter of a minute or two, and then he's gonna be out. Probably gonna... not sure what the fastest way to reach the Staff of Rain cave is gonna be. Probably warping to... I'm not sure what the closest down from there is.
Cole was at the Hawksness spot, right? So that's
Yes,
probably it.
Yep, sounds like a good plan. Yeah, I don't see how much quicker this could go.
And the nice thing too is, again, the token is right there. So you can kind of wrap up all of that stuff, and then just all you have to do is do your rainbow drop turn in, and you're good to go.
Yep, and Quinn Patrick is pretty much there. He's got the harp right now. He's got 745 experience points buffer, so he's got enough to run from like 30 Charlock enemies. That's more than enough. Looks like Just Chris is satisfied with his level 17 stats. And we see the rare Heal More cast before DL2 in this flag set. When you are at level 17, you crit so much you barely need to heal at all. But looks like it was a nice use of it, so you don't have to flood the golem, and when you don't get the crits, you just don't get the crits. So Heal More is a safe way to play this.
Yep, you got to make it to the bottom. Need that harp. Can't skip out on that one. So he's able to secure it. We'll port around a little bit, probably back to the Cole spot, and then wrap up his turn-ins here. Quinn doing the same, just headed over to Cole, now giving his harp away and turn for a staff.
Slamu just getting the cord, so he might have the staff, but he's gonna have to walk back right in that area because the token is there. And yeah, this is heating up a bit. Everyone's getting ready for the final dive. This is gonna be very exciting.
All right, Quinn has the rainbow drop, first one to secure such. Gonna port right back to Cantlin, quick top off of the resources, and we'll have our first runner into Charlock here. Less than an hour, pretty fast seed, really all things considered. Just Chris won't be too far behind, and really Slamu won't be too much behind Chris either. All three runners already at level 17.
Yes, if Quinn makes a misstep somewhere, he's gonna have a bad time because two players are right on his back is gonna make it very unforgiving to make any kind of mistake. Looks like he will pretty much have to go for the sword with the broadsword. He's got 122 attack. He doesn't have the death necklace, so yeah, he's gonna have to pay a visit to the judges table, as we like to call it, and grab that sword.
Yep, take another quick look at the stats there and making sure, yes, this is the plan. Again, it's really easy. I know that in a quick practice that I had done, I had definitely gotten down a little bit onto the U floor before remembering, oh, right, vanilla sword chest first. because that's not a thing most people do. It's like if you're going to dive Sherlock looking for something, most of the time you dive all the way to the treasury first, 6 and 7 chance of what you're trying to look for. But making sure that you do that, don't have to backtrack, is going to be really big. So just make sure to remember, take that south fork in the road.
Yes, also, when you play that kind of seed, you're in a mode where you're telling yourself, okay, I gotta grind, and then you reach 17, and okay, I'm done. And then you're so strong, you crit so much, you might forget that you're not that strong yet. So yes, you gotta be very careful about that. So golems will set back our runners 35-ish XP every time they run from one. So you got 20 runs in the bank from golems if you're Quinn Patrick. So no reason to fight anything, just run every time.
Yep, 100%. I mean, just Chris took the green dragon there, and it's fine. Again, he has a little bit less buffer, but realistically still also probably shouldn't need to fight really anything. If you're getting that close to it, at the very bottom you can swipe at something, but in all likelihood will not need that extra buffer. So Quinn Patrick, couple floors ahead. Again, some of it is just going to come down to things like encounter rates, and you can't blame it on the run rate and getting run block, because that's not going to happen in this case, but regardless, just getting so many encounters can play a role here.
Yes, I was gonna say repelling might change something also, but no, none of our 3 players that are in Sherlock right now have the silver shield, so that's not gonna make a big difference. Although I'm noticing right now that Big Slamu of the 3 is the only one with the death necklace, so he might not go for the sword and just go directly to Dragon Lord.
Yeah, very possible, because I mean, he also has the 2 from the Fighter's Ring as well, so he'll be at 134. Really won't have room for doubles post Death Necklace HP, but I mean, he still would be in a commanding position to win that fight, assuming things don't go completely off the rails here on the dive, which they shouldn't.
Now Quinn got his sword and he's back on the way to the Dragon Lord, so in a minute or 2 he's going to be right in front of it. Just Chris saying hi as he passes by and gets to his sword. Star Wyvern, Green Dragon on the bottom floor. We haven't seen really any threatening enemies. I don't think we've seen a lot of sleep or DL2 from any enemy from in Sherlock, so nothing to worry there. Worst case scenario, you get back attacked and lose 25, 30 HP. Nothing a herb can't fix.
Interesting, Slamu's elected to go for the sword as well. Again, the math says he probably, I mean, he definitely doesn't need it here, but it's pretty safe. It's also a little bit of a time concern. I mean, it doesn't take too long to go and grab this real quick. If I wasn't repelling anything, I might give a little bit of pause to it, like these runners are. If I had the silver shield, I would definitely pick it up. It's going to cut like 4 swings off the fight. That's extra turns in combat, extra swings, extra heal mores. But he does go ahead and pick up his Herdrick sword. And Quinn, the first one to be declared a fool. So here we go. Really should... The Dragon Lord is no match for what Quinn Patrick has to offer here. So no mismenus, please.
Yep, gets into DL2 fight with 119 HP. That's an opening double right there. A swing for 21. That's more than enough. Way more than enough.
Yeah, I really don't even need to feel the need to count this one in, because it's really just a matter of how many heal mores do you think he's going to have left after the end of this fight. It's probably going to be at least 4.
I'm more interested in the race for second place, because Just Chris just started his fight. with Erdrick's sword, but no Death Necklace. If Slamu uses the Death Necklace, he's gonna make the fight a little faster, but then again, he's maybe not gonna get as many doubles. I still think Just Chris is in the best position to get second place, but you never know what happens. All
right,
three.
Dueling Drag. Go ahead.
I was just noticing all three players fighting the Dragon Lord are about at the same amount of experience points, to 12,500-ish. That's, again, a little bit too much. Ideally, you'd have to reach him at 12,000 and exactly, but it's fine. And there we go. Get your GGs in chat for Quinn Patrick getting first place. Well done.
Yep, congratulations to Quinn. Again, had the XP lead early, leveraged that into some really solid exploration, right ordered, again, finding coordinates and kind of back and forthing throughout this one. Finishes with an official time, 58 minutes, 18 seconds in first place in this positional week with the 5-point prize. Just Chris right on his tail. Also going to finish in the 58 range at 58.37 in second place. It's just 19 seconds. That gap closed a lot in Sharlock, and that Dragonlord fight was very fast.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing to see how close these two were. Just a couple of fights difference, running away or fighting an enemy might have made the difference between first and second, but they both played incredibly well. GG's to them both, and GG's to Big Slam who just finished the DL2 fight with 55 MP left in the tank. That's amazing.
It never feels good when you head into the DL2 fight and nobody has finished, especially in a 4-player race like this, and you're going to walk away with third. It doesn't feel good, but I mean, this is a very competitive group. Again, these were runners in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th place after the first 3 weeks. Slamu is going to pick up 2 points in third place at 59.25. Again, just 67 seconds from first, so very close between these top 3 runners.
Yes, and I can't imagine EMP taking much more longer to finish his seed. He's almost at level 17. He's got everything but the drop. He's got a silver shield as well. He's got the death necklace. So yeah, I imagine we'll be GG'ing him in just a couple minutes. And we are joined by someone. Let me figure this out. We are joined by Quinn Patrick, our victor from today. Well done, Quinn Patrick. GG's. How are you feeling?
Thank you. Yeah, I getting to watch that back was pretty weird because like this was the very first race of the week. No one had or there hadn't been any tournament races in this flag set yet at the time that we had done this. You know, I had never seen anyone else playing this flag set. So watching it back in hindsight, like the meta game for this has evolved. I think, like I was talking about in chat, like. Yeah, I know, like, I shouldn't have fought that green dragon. I know that now. At the time, you know, I think it was like the next race after that, I saw Beta in chat going, you know, you need about 500 to make it to the bottom running from everything most of the time. But, you know, at the time, I was coming up with it on the fly, how we should play this. And yeah, although I'm pretty confident that going all the way to 17 on the Armored Knight was the right call. I think you can almost, like, Chris was ahead of me during the Armored Knight grind, and I think you can like pinpoint the time where I went around him. It was like while we were walking to the grave across like the south part of the map, and I just was able to pull ahead of him because I didn't have to fight stuff that wasn't Armored Knights. And so I think I made the right call on that at least.
I think you are pointing something out that is very important here. Being the first players to run a flag set in a tournament like this is intimidating a bit, because you were talking about the meta. There's not really a meta set for these flag sets, and being the first ones to play, you can't base your playing on anyone else's. Really, you have to figure out things by yourself, and it looks like you did that pretty well.
Yeah, that said, I think if Slamu had known about the Armored Knight, he would have walloped us by multiple minutes. Like, he was able to finish that close behind me and Chris while grinding the Golem, which is just like playing on hard mode. So, yeah, that was... when this race happened, I was pretty astonished by how close it was, and I was sure that everyone else had done that Armored Knight too, because I was fighting that, and I was like, this is the grind that you dream about. This is the ultimate grind. It doesn't get any better than this. So yes, seeing that someone almost was there with like that, the clearly worse Golem grind is pretty intimidating, I think.
When you were reaching level 17 and getting ready to do your homework and stuff, you probably noticed that your strength was attack power is a bit low still, so you opted to go for the sword. Did you ever consider also going for the mountain cave and the death necklace and the fighter's ring, or was it clear for you that you had to go for the sword?
Yeah, I don't think, like, in the moment, I don't think not going for sword ever occurred to me. I think I had gotten the sword in all of my practice seeds, and it just seemed like part of the sequence. And I think that if my attack power had been so high that like doing it with broadsword was viable, I would have noticed that. But in hindsight, I think getting the death necklace out of Mountain Cave would have taken about the same amount of time as getting the sword in Charlock, if not a little more. Or getting a flame sword would have taken way longer. Because actually, you guys were saying, "Oh, he's gonna have money for flame sword from fighting these armored knights," and I was like, "No, I won't." And I didn't. I was at about 9,500 or 9,400, I think, which is a little short. And I wanted to buy magic armor because I knew there was magic armor in Remolder. I knew Remolder was really convenient, and I didn't know at that point where Hawksness was. So for all I knew, I'd be walking all the way to the Cantlin spot with whatever armor I bought. So I really wanted that magic armor to get my defense up to repel as much stuff as I could.
It does make a lot of sense. We never know what town might be where in this seed. EMP walked around the map a bunch with a full gold grind pretty much, and ended up going all the way to the Kenton location, finding Garenham and the harp. I was guessing he was hoping for Cantlin, but you found that much earlier in this seed. You knew where that was and that it was not really accessible, especially since you didn't have the flute for a long time.
Yeah, I did get lucky in this one. Going for Second Continent, making the decision to go for Second Continent first was really important because it wound up being, getting the coordinates right away. I never had to go back, and then I could just do everything, visit every location once, and it was taken care of. The other reason why going to level 17 wound up being the right decision is because when I did get to that Golem and Hawksness, I did not roll a single crit. And if I didn't have heal more, I would have had to run away and try again.
Yeah, that is something that happened for most of our runners here. Some of them also had the flute by then, so they just used it and made the fight much safer. But yeah, you do need sometimes a little bit of help from Lady Luck to to win these fights in the Hawksness. And looks like EMP has reached the Dragon Lord with almost 300 XP left for his run buffer. He's not going to need it anymore. He's just going to be declared a fool. Probably use the Death Necklace because he's got the Flame Sword. He did not go for the Erdrick Sword. And it's still going to be an easy fight, I feel.
I'm calculating our critical hit rates. I had almost exactly 25% of my attacks were crits. For Slamu, it was about 28%.
Yeah, that is a whole lot of crits, but agility went up pretty well with these levels, and pretty much, well, you did not have a terrible stats at any point in the seed, really. Even at the start, you had 22 strength to start with. That's plenty to start. Did not feel like you were hindered by a stat in particular at any point. Maybe HP was low for a bit, but then I believe it was a level 13 that you had a big HP gain, and then you were set for pretty much everything.
Yeah, I calculated, and I was actually the least lucky on critical hits. Of, maybe EMP had fewer, but about 26% for crit.
It's a strange thing to say that 26% crits is low, but it was, I guess, in a way, considering that agility and the number of swings you all took. And oh no, EMP failed the hurt spell against the Dragon Lord. Well tried, though. That was I assumed that was that was for fun. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but thankfully he still got the ball of light. Get you GG's in chat for EMP, who's gonna walk home and get 4th place, which gives him a single point, unfortunately, but it does not rule him out from anything yet.
It's gonna visit his girlfriend first. Oh wait, we never saved Gwaelin. Whoops.
I don't even know if Gwaelin was in this seed. We never checked.
Yeah, she probably was fine.
Yeah, for all we know, there's just like a broom with a wig in that room.
A broom with a wig and a GPS. While we're looking at EMP's stat, I would urge you to consider following our dear runners from today: Quinn Patrick, Big Slamu, Just Chris, and EMP Amount of Money. The links are in chat. They all are great Dragon Warrior randomizer players, but they also play other things sometimes. You might want to check their channels out, and maybe even check the channels for the crew from today. We have Veluvi doing a bunch of vodcasts today. Thank you so much. Diabetes the second, my co-commentator here, is a great player and also great person all around. We've got Felisan and Cherno tracking for us. Their help is much appreciated because there's no way we could keep up with everything that's going on in these seeds without them. So thank you, everyone. And that's pretty much a 28% crit rate for EMP as well. Even more than that, if we consider that the last 10 swings or so are unable to crit because it's the Dragon Lord fight, but it's it's still a very nice rate.
And honestly, I'm looking, the one thing that's kind of jumping out to me here is the step count among our runners. Quinn and Just Chris probably unsurprisingly had the least. EMP with like 25% more than the other runners, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe 20% more. And that definitely is just, it's that order of operations. It's going the wrong direction when you should, going through Swamp Cave when you should, or shouldn't, or not going through Swamp Cave when you should go through Swamp Cave. And there's not quite finding things in the right order, needing to backtrack a little bit. And then just doing some things that were in this seed unnecessary, as it turned out, like diving through Mountain Cave and taking the Death Warp out of there, doing the early gold grind, just necessitated a little bit of extra walking for him. So unfortunately, just didn't quite pan out for EMP in this one. But GG's all around, very well run by all the runners. Sometimes a game plays you, sometimes you get to play the game. So it's the way it works.
We do notice, though, that EMP has a much lower bunk count than the other players, and while it may seem like a meme thing, in the upcoming weeks there will be bunk damage. I believe for weeks 6 and 8B. So keep an eye out for damage bunks coming up.
One other thing to note, we do have 2 more vodcasts scheduled for this afternoon. We have upcoming here shortly in a certain amount of minutes once we get things switched over, probably close to 4:30 once we wrap up things here. We'll have the Group 4 race that will be here on DW Randomizer, and then after that, around 6 p.m. Eastern, we will have the Group 5 vodcast race. We are looking for volunteers across the board. We have Veluv very kindly broadcasting all of our VODs today, but we could use some friends to help us in the booth and on the tracker. If you want to push some buttons or talk a little bit, we would appreciate your assistance with that. So just reach out in the Discord if you're available sometime in the next couple of hours. Otherwise, you have to listen to me for like 3 hours. Nobody wants to listen to that.
I would listen to your sweet voice for any amount of time, any amount. But unfortunately, it's not what's gonna happen, I assume. So yes, get your person in Dragon Warrior Randomizer Discord if you haven't already. It's full of great people. It's full of fun games and fun stuff. It's a great community.
For any amount of money, I may consider it, but we'll talk to EMP. We'll see if we can arrange something.
Quitting our day job to get a job as a Dragon Warrior Randomizer commentator. I definitely, that's something I could get behind.
I hear it pays really well. Anyway, on behalf of the broadcast crew, as we kind of wrap up here and head toward vodcast number 2, on behalf of my co-commentator Juef, on behalf of Veluv, our restreamer, on behalf of Felisen and Chirno, our trackers, this was Group 3, Week 3 Winter League Racing, Group 4 to come at 4:30 Eastern in about 15 minutes. Thanks, everybody. GG's to the runners, and we'll see you in the next race.
Thanks, guys.